Welcome, folks. What a bizarre day in Rexburg, Idaho. Here we are, the biggest case in the nation right now, and you've got an empty courtroom, people's faces covered in masks, and Lori Vallow-Daybell trying to get released from jail. We're going to get into that in just a second. We got a lot to cover tonight. Huge developments in our investigation into the world of Lori Vallow-Daybell. Ashley Banfield's going to join us on that. But let's get you right into the courtroom, because if you're just coming home and you didn't see what happened today, it was a bizarre situation, unlike anything we've ever seen. Maybe this is what future hearings look like and sound like, but it was crazy. The biggest crime story in the nation, and the courtroom is virtually empty as Lori Vallow-Daybell's attorney pleads with the judge to let her out because the jailers are listening to their phone calls. Take a listen.
And suspect as to why it was untimely, we have violations such as the affidavits. Any affidavits or any pleadings filed with the court have to be double-spaced. These are single-spaced. It was incredibly difficult to try to discuss with my client various documents, as the amount of documents are intense. So I did what I could while I was here. We had the conversations over the phone. I was repeatedly told it wasn't recorded. It wasn't going to be recorded. The recordings were off. And so I relied upon that representation to have that communication. My gut was, I think they recorded it. I heard beeping on the phone that I don't know if it was a cheap landline. I don't know if it bumped my ear, because as I sit there with the ear pinned to my shoulder, typing on a laptop, trying to show documents to my client, it's extremely difficult. So I go back and I file the amended motion before the court, bringing up my belief that I think it was recorded, even though I was told repeatedly on each time I was there that it would not be recorded. At no point in time prior to the filing of this declaration, or excuse me, of this objection, before or after, do I receive any kind of confirmation of what the recording was, how long it lasted, who deleted it, where was it deleted, how was it deleted, who heard it? No communication whatsoever regarding this. Obviously, there's a concern. When the prosecution, the state, and various individuals represent to the court that this is a one-time deal, that is not being honest with the court. After that,
and now you're making accusations that I want to hear facts supporting.
Of course. And so what we have here is a conversation between me and the prosecution, where they admit that previous recordings of conversation between me and my client occurred, and they deleted them. This was before COVID-19. This was told to me directly. And the way it was told to me directly was multiple phone calls. Phone calls were recorded. When we realized it was you, we deleted them. Obviously, that is not a good situation. I think you also have to look at and consider the economic situation that we're in now, where jobs are difficult, people are not spending money. My client is obviously unemployed at this time. Her husband is a publisher. People aren't buying books. So hopefully we don't have these COVID-19 issues. I think the spirit of the order from the Supreme Court would ask this court to take that into consideration in setting the bond amount here.
But this trial isn't being delayed because of the COVID situation. Well, we haven't got to preliminary hearing, and it was delayed until July on your motion, not on the state's motion.
Throwing accusations that they're listening to his phone calls, and there were some admissions that they were, but not a basis to be released from jail. I mean, and not a basis for a reduction of bond today, denied by the judge. Let's bring in Chanley Painter, Court TV correspondent. All right, Chanley, some real accusations being thrown by Mark Means. This is really our first taste of the defense and the prosecution in this case. And I mean, he came out guns a-blazing, accusations flying across the courtroom, but the judge not buying any of it today.
That's right. This hearing was 2.5 hours long, Vinny. He spent most of the time, Mark Means, outlining his argument step by step, fervently doing so, as we just saw, and talking about there's just no way possible, in his opinion and experience, that he can have this attorney-client privileged communication relationship while Lori Vallow is in jail, especially under these COVID-19 conditions. He specifically pointed to at least 3 recorded phone calls that the prosecution said were accidentally recorded and then deleted. He said that violates this privilege. Of course, the prosecutor, Rob Wood, also responded during this bond hearing, and he said, look, there's no good cause shown. Based on the evidence and the filings in this case, there's no good cause because there are ways to get around this. Every time you make a phone call in that jail, Vinny, there's a warning that says you are being recorded. And according to the prosecutor, the defense attorney was on notice to ask the deputies not to record those phone calls. Ultimately, Vinny, the judge decided that she agreed with the prosecution, and Lori Vallow's bail remains at $1 million.
All right, got to come up with the money. Now, the scene inside the courtroom, I mean, unlike anything we've ever seen before, and it's part of our new world. She's alone at the table with her attorney. She's got the mask. We can't see her face. First question, I'm looking behind her. I don't think I saw Chad Daybell in the courtroom today. Do we know if he was there, hiding somewhere?
We don't know for sure. He could have been hiding somewhere, but we get a good look through the camera of the gallery, and he is not sitting back there. Maybe it was for safety or health reasons. Maybe he was in a different part of the courtroom, or maybe he didn't get permission, because everyone that was in the gallery had to have permission, written permission from the judge to be there, follow those strict protocols of wearing the mask. You see all the parties in there, even the judge referring several times how hard it was for her to breathe and talk underneath that mask. But as all we know right now, Chad, her husband, was not there today.
Okay, and any indication of what is next? I mean, are we just waiting for the prelim now?
That's right. So when the judge did make her ruling denying this motion, she seemed to indicate that even though the preliminary hearing is now set for July 9th and 10th, that she was open to moving it sooner. Now that Lori Vallow has to remain in jail, the defense said during this hearing that he originally requested for a June preliminary hearing date because he's hoping that he can get some of these charges kicked out or reduced where she would qualify for bail. But right now it is set for July.
All right, Chanley Painter, appreciate it. Really a big day in this case, and a big loss for the defense, a big loss for Lori Vallow-Daybell. She wants to get out of there, folks. I mean, she wants to, don't forget, she believes the end of the world is coming in July. So maybe you want to get the prelim done in June. I don't know.